In this video, we are going to explore how to use newly launched model router in Azure AI Foundry and what are the advantage of using it. So as you can see over here, I'm in Azure AI Foundry and there are some latest model which has been launched. Grok 3 and Grok 3 Mini is also one of them, but we are going to focus on model router. You can see the model router and I'm just going to click on this. Now this model router is going to be very beneficial for us because based on the given query, it is automatically going to identify what particular model it has to use, and to identify that it is going to rely on certain factors, which is going to be the query complexity, the cost and the performance, and based on that it is going to route the request to most suitable model. And as per the evaluation where they have tested this model routed versus GPT 4.1, and they could see okay, there had been 60% cost saving with similar accuracy. So that's why this model router is going to be very beneficial, because now we do not have to rely on just one particular model. There is going to be bunch of models and this model router is going to pick the perfect model for you. Now what kind of models we are going to have in this particular case? Here you could see in this particular router version there are going to be these 4 models. We are going to have GPT 4.1, 4.1 mini, nano and O4 mini. So it's a mix of reasoning model and their latest model. And other thing what we have to notice over here, the context length for the model, it depends on the underlying model that is being used for each prompt. So in this particular version the input size is going to be this 200k and output size is going to be 32k. Other thing what we have to notice, what kind of data types are going to be used in this particular case. So input could be in text and image, but output is only going to be in the text format. Now this is what we can do using model router. So let's try to see it in action. So first thing what we have to do is deploy this particular model. So for that it's going to ask us our project name, and then there are certain advanced options which you can customize based on your need. Here I'm going to just go ahead with the default one. So it's going to create certain things. So here you could see a new resource group is going to be created, and then there is a Azure AI Foundry resource is going to be created. So I will just go ahead and click on create. This is completed and you could see we have been routed to playground. Just to confirm whether the deployment has been there or not, so you can go to this model plus endpoint in my asset and you could see the model has been deployed successfully. Now what we can do is we can just click on this and it will give you the key to access this particular model along with the sample code, which you could see over here. Also you could see the name is going to be this model router. This is basically the deployment name and this is going to be your model name. So all the details are over here, and at the bottom you could see model is going to route to GPT 4.1 nano mini, GPT 4.1 and O4 mini. And at the right side you could see how to write a sample code to access this particular model. And also if you want to switch to Microsoft Entra ID, then also you can just select it from here and it will give you the sample code for that as well. If you want to use Microsoft Entra ID, then you have to do the app registration so that you can get the client ID, tenant and secret, which you can pass here to access the model. So let me just go ahead and try to access this model using the key authentication. So now I'm in my Visual Studio Code. We will try to take the code directly from here and we'll try to use it in Visual Studio Codes. Now I'm just going to set up all this environment variables in our environment file. So I will just create one env file, and after that we need to see okay, what exactly we need to pass over here. API version, endpoint, subscription key, and the deployment is going to be something which we need to pass in our environment. So I'm just going to pass it here, API version. Then we do have our deployment and we do have our key, and last we have our endpoint. And I can take all this value from the sample code only. So this is going to be my API version, which I'm just going to take it and put it over here. Then it's asking for deployment name. So deployment name is same as model name. So deployment name I'm passing here. Then we have to pass our key. Key is something which we can take it from here directly. I can pass it here, and then we are going to have our endpoint. Endpoint is this. So I will just take it and put it here. Now all our environment variable has been set it up. So I will go to demo.py and then here we have to import all those environment variables. So for that I'm going to use another package which is going to be .env, and then I'm just going to load all the environment variables using this method, and then we can extract the values from our environment variable. For this I'm going to use this particular method, and same we can do it for endpoint, our API key, and deployment, and I just need to pass a key from my environment variables. For this, we have defined API version. Here it's going to be endpoint only. This is going to be our key, and this is going to be our deployment name. Now we can just pass the corresponding values in our Azure OpenAI. So this is going to be our API key, and now our code has been set up on our local. You can see we are using the chat completion endpoint, and it's a normal message where we are passing a system message and then there is a user message. Now based on this user message, we are expecting model router only to identify which particular model requires to run over here. So here you could see, write a comprehensive amount of solo backpacking adventure covering different countries, and then detail the challenge and trends of traveling solo. So there are certain things what we are asking, and just to identify like which particular model it's going to invoke, we can just print this one out, response.model, and it can just print it out like for this particular query which particular model it has routed to. Let me just go ahead and try to run this and see what we get. Now you could see we were able to get a response, so it's a very thorough response what we are getting. Let's look at it, which particular model is being used. So in this case it has used O4 mini. And why it has used O4 mini? Because we were asking a lot of details in this particular case, so it has decided, okay, we have to use this particular reasoning model to get the response out of it. What we can do, we can just try to pass something else. Now let me just pass like what is the capital of France, and this is a very simple ask. Let me just go ahead and try to run this, and in this case you could see it has selected GPT 4 Nano because it's a very simple ask. So it has just decided, okay, we have to go ahead with this smaller model only. Now you could see how it is going to be beneficial, because now you don't have to just stuck with one particular model. If you would have just deployed the reasoning model, then for all kind of ask it would have relied only on the reasoning model. But now just because of this model router, based on the query and the complexity and the cost, it is just taking a call, okay, which particular model it has to use. And because in all the cases it's not going to hit the bigger model, so it will definitely save the cost what we are going to incur by using the reasoning or bigger models. So that's the advantage of it, and that's how actually we can leverage model router. That's all what we have in this video. Thank you for watching.